Hello, everybody. My name is Jacob, and I've recently started a software company, and I'm trying to make a video every single day to kind of share my progress, share my the things that I'm running into and what I'm dealing with. Um, my background isn't in software, though. My background's in education, and even though I'm very involved with technology, and my doctorate is in e-learning. Um, so much of what I've been doing is just absolutely new to me, and a lot of things with AI are new for everybody, but for me, for sure. Um, and that's how I've been developing the programs that I'm making. So far, one of my apps is live. It's called Acadesis, and it's something I recognized that would help my students. I'm an English professor. I teach at a small junior college, which is slowly growing to be bigger and start offering bachelor's degrees. But my English students, like students all over the country and all over the world, they struggle with citing sources. They struggle with, just the issues that AI presents. Staying organized, and I'm also very interested in accessibility and meeting the needs of people that aren't just struggling in conventional ways, but also neurodivergent learners that just, if the world was a little bit different, it'd be easier for them to not have to fight the world and how it's designed so much. So I've been developing this app. Like I said, it's called Acadesis, and it has it's kind of an all-in-one solution for students. It doesn't cover every topic, but it does hit on a lot. There is a very robust studio section for writing. There is a very robust library section for students to be able to upload documents of any kind and to be able to use some of the features that are built in to the app to study. There is a robust notes app that is synced with all the other parts of the app so that you can pull up your notes, or you can take notes that are synced with the notes section from the library, or you can open up a note inside the studio section so you can, without leaving the app, you can open your notes inside of the writing space, and so on and so forth. And one of the things I've been working on the last couple of days is really fleshing out the planner section. This is, we've added the ability, I say we, it's me and AI, added the ability to say, to make and to track goals. This is something that students don't do enough of, especially that we know the big picture. We know, okay, I need to get my degree, I need to go get my job, but we aren't thinking, what am I getting out of this specific class? So I built into the app, you can upload your syllabus, and it can pull out the learning objectives and help you to track your progress towards them, among other things. And then all these features can be accessed and tracked through the dashboard, which you see when you first open the app. I wanted to make this app affordable and accessible to students, so it is free. It's currently a web app, and the only payment a student ever has to pay is if they want to use the AI features. Now, pulling things out of the syllabus automatically, that's an AI feature. But I've also tried to be very thoughtful with how AI is used within the app. I want it to be very productive. I don't want it to be something that a student has to feel goes against what their institution wants. Now, every institution is going to be a little bit different, but specifically, the AI doesn't do any writing. It can give feedback on a paper. It can use a rubric to even give a sample grade on a paper, but it won't write. It doesn't do any writing. So if a student wants to use this app thinking that it's an easy way out, no, that's not the case. It will, support you. It will provide a structure to help you to think through a problem, to take notes, to give you some structure for your outline. It can do a lot of things like that, but it's not going to say, let me write that paragraph for you. In fact, that's specifically not built into the app. But things that are built into the app is a version tracker. You can export a report so that you can show your teacher, hey, this was tracking what I did do throughout the progress of this app. It's even watching the use of AI within the app so that it can be accountable for that. And so you could say, yeah, I didn't use any of the AI features in the app. I developed it over a period of time. Even if you copy and paste a big, large chunk of text into the app, it's going to warn you saying like, I don't know about this. Because it's trying to meet the needs for students, but also one of the students' needs is not to be, second guessed. And so it serves teachers at the same time. And obviously I'm a teacher. This is the app that I want my students using because it addresses that issue. It addresses that need. So I've been trying to be very thoughtful about solving problems that I see in education. And the more I think about it, it's like, well, let's add this feature. Let's add this. There's a Pomodoro timer built into the app so that you can kind of, okay, let's focus for this period of time. Okay, now I can take a break. Let's get back to work. The interface is designed to not be, to be ADA compliant, but also not distracting at the same time, so that our neurodivergent students aren't, intentionally distracted by the app that they're in, by design. And so I've put a lot of thought into this, but I've, over the span of different iterations of this idea, this whole thing started maybe 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. And I'm really happy. I'm really happy with where we're getting to. It's, we're making a lot of progress in the development of this app. I've learned a whole lot throughout the process. No, that's not what I want. I've learned a lot about coding, even though the AIs are doing the coding. And I say the AIs, I jump back and forth between Claude and ChatGPT. So I started using Claude. I really like using it, but especially, I feel like they've really pulled back on how much usage you get since they kind of ballooned in popularity over the last month or so. I feel like they're limited on compute, and so they're not giving you as much. They gave everyone a $20 credit. When I max out on that, I switch over to ChatGPT. I'm using Codex a lot, and I'm doing a lot of different things. It just made more sense to jump back and forth between those two apps than jump from the $20 level to like the $100 level. Even though I'm sure I can max out on all these levels, there's just enough to do. And yeah, if you're doing something similar, you might be experiencing the same phenomena that, like, I go to bed at night and I'm like, man, I could have the AI do something right now. I just feel like there's so much that can be done that if I'm not constantly running it to do something productive, it's it's almost like there's a problem, like I'm being inefficient somehow. Even though I'm not trying to do anything like that. I'm pulling up the app. It's live on the website, but I haven't pushed out a bunch of updates yet. So I'm pulling up my local version of the app on my desktop computer right now. I'm hoping that I can push it a little bit further, feel really solid about it, and then make the desktop version, the Windows version of the app, which, as I understand it, it's going to take me like one night to push out, and then work on the Android version, which might take a little bit more work. But I've designed the app so that it works both. It's tailored for desktop and mobile, different screen sizes and interface models. Whether it's touch or type. But inside the app, I think I'm starting to feel pretty good about its quality. That's the dashboard. You've got Studio tab for writing, the Library tab for reading and studying. You've got the Notebook tab for all the notes, and the Planner tab. And I've spent a lot of time polishing each of these sections, and I'm a perfectionist. I'm always thinking of new things I can do, but I think it's a pretty solid app and something to be pretty happy about. But I think part of the time my ADHD brain, jumps out. It's like, well, okay, what's the most exciting new project I can start? And so I'm starting to think, well, okay, if this one has kind of slowed down because it's, becoming more mature, then what's the next thing? And I was just watching the Moonshots podcast, which I think is fantastic. The main host is Peter Diamandis, but he has several other people throughout the world that are venture capitalists and technologists and smart people in the world that are constantly thinking about what's next. And lately that just means AI. And they're talking about, everyone needs to develop entrepreneurial skills. That's kind of the future. And they were talking about you can't wait to start this. There's a moment that you're missing if you don't just start building something. So you need to build something, which is probably one reason why I decided I'm going to build this software company that I'm making right now called Larson Systems. And I've been focusing largely on apps that I see the need for and what I do. And in this case, it means I'm building apps for education, which makes me think, okay, instead of just focusing on what I have observed personally, what might be some problems I haven't observed that I could help to address and build a product for? Because one, I want to help people. I want to solve problems. But also two, it'd be nice to make money. It'd be nice to figure out how to, solve problems, but also be better off. It is a business, right? And it'd be great to be successful in the business in addition to building a very useful product that helps solve problems. So I've been trying to think what are the other problems I could solve? And so naturally I go to the one app that I haven't used all my tokens on, and that's Gemini. I don't pay for Gemini, so it's just whatever I can get. So I ask it, okay, can you conduct deep research for me? And this is what it came up with. So this is the prompt. I'll tell you the prompt I put in there. What are areas within education that have entrepreneurial opportunities for a vibe coder? There's a spell mistake, but anyway, vibe coder with an educational doctor like me. I've been developing apps, but could you help me identify pain points that are primed for distribution and improvement? I meant disruption right there, but man, as an English teacher, that's embarrassing how many problems I had. This is the report that it gave me. Strategic optimization for educational technology ecosystems, a comprehensive analysis of market pain points and entrepreneurial pathways for research-driven development. Gemini is really good at doing deep research. It's one of my favorite ones. Plus, it doesn't, eat up my tokens like using ChatGPT does. So I haven't dug through this yet, but makes me think, what are other ways that AI can help solve some of these problems or not just AI, but software that I can develop quickly um, without, spending years and years to address these problems. What can I iterate on quickly and get out? So it's talking about lesson planning and prep. That's something I have started to work on, grading and feedback. That one's a little bit tricky because if you do anything with student data, there's a lot of liability with that. Admin documentation, same issue. It's incredibly helpful to teachers to minimize their workload, but also anything dealing with private information, you run into federal law, which is a liability. Parent communication, it's a little bit different. I don't know that that's going to hit the same legal loopholes as the others. And in fact, I designed an app that addressed all that, but I'm putting it on hold as I solve some others, and I try to figure out how much I want to expose myself to liability because of FERPA, the federal law. Okay, let's see what else it says. Documentation gaps, procedural errors, progress monitoring, IEP plans. English language learners. Okay. Yeah, there's, unless laws have changed in the last couple of years, there's like 3-4 states that require teachers to specifically get training on how to work with English language learners, or in other words, English is not their first language. Arizona is one of those states where I live. So I had a training, and it was great, and everything that it said to help someone that English isn't their first language, well, you should be doing with anyone. That's just best practices. Higher education navigating the ROI pivot and administrative burden. Yeah. Which makes me think, what are the pain points that you see in your areas of expertise? Do you see ways that you can help address problems that maybe AI can help you to work on? I focus on education because I'm a teacher, because my research expertise and background is in researching education and technology, and this is kind of the perfect storm of a lot of those things. I'm going to dig deeper into this report when I'm not recording, but what are those anecdotal things you've observed that maybe you can address? And also, I would love feedback. If you haven't checked out my app, I would love to get your feedback. One of my biggest pain points is marketing, which is why I'm forcing myself to record a video every day, which usually means I'm doing it right at night, right before I go to bed, and right when I'm really tired. But I'm trying to get better at sharing and communicating what I'm working on, because or else how's anyone gonna know what I've put together, what's out there? So I've been trying to put out updates every single day as I'm at the beginning of this process, and really just trying to polish. Also, before it messes up with too many people. But I think we've got something pretty cool that'd be beneficial for a lot of people. But if you have an idea, I'd love to hear it. And if you have recommendations for how I can fix this up, that'd be great. And if this helps encourage you to just start doing something, I think that's fantastic. Because there are great opportunities right now to use tools that are so incredibly powerful that we've never had access to in the past, that can help solve problems. And maybe you've observed problems that you can address. That's what I'm trying to do. And in this case, I made an app for my students. So, what do you think? Do you have some good ideas? Hopefully. All right. 6 minutes, my tokens in ChatGPT are going to reload, and I can push out an update and then go to bed. All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow in the next video, and yeah, look forward to hearing any feedback you have for me. Thanks. Bye.